This may look like a real drug laboratory, but it's a setup to emphasise the potential dangers of a homemade lab and the harmful chemicals that remain after police have conducted a raid.
Drug labs involve very toxic chemicals, harmful to humans, harmful to the environment, so it's critically important that we have the appropriate guidelines to ensure that clean up after the event can remediate a property into a safe state.
Those guidelines were launched in Brisbane today and outline the responsibility for councils, homeowners and landlords to make the site safe again.
There are examples all over the world where houses have been destroyed by explosion and subsequent fire when these processes go wrong.
Last year, nearly 300 clandestine drug laboratories were uncovered in Queensland. That's half the national average.
We know if we can continue to close down labs, we punch a hole in organised syndicates. You need to stop the money flow to stop organised crime.
70% of drug laboratories are found in residential areas, and in the past 24 hours, another 5 were discovered in Queensland. Authorities say homemade drug laboratories are becoming smaller and more mobile. The police minister wants people to report anything suspicious in their neighbourhoods.
For example, homes with windows blacked out, suspicious activity during the day or during the night, and irregular visits by people or strong smells.
People are asked to call Crime Stoppers with any information. Heidi Pozzan, ABC News. In a matter of seconds, this Biawa home exploded into flames. Glass and metal spewed into the air, showering the street in debris. Fire crews raced in to try and contain the blaze, but it had already taken hold. Only moments earlier, an 11-year-old girl was rescued by police. It's believed she was being held hostage inside, tied to a chair by a man involved with a dispute with her mother.
Just heard a little girl scream and then saw 2 police taking her out of the house. And they told us to get inside and we thought, oh, maybe there's a guy in there with a gun or something at most. Never expected a huge explosion.
The man was killed in the blast. Residents up to a kilometre away felt the shockwave.
Shockwave literally knocked everyone off their feet in the house. Freaked the dogs out.
Yeah, there was definitely an explosion. It rocked the car down at the high school. So
shake and shock shook the house, and then you just seen the big fireball, and that was the hard part.
Detectives, firefighters and police crews have been assessing the damage today after yesterday's explosion that blew the house apart.
It's not good for the area. Not good at all.
Heidi Pozzan, 9 News. Weekends together, worlds apart. In 1966, Prince Charles spent weekends and school holidays on the Tozers family dairy farm on the outskirts of Victoria.
I just remember him as very curious.
Jane was only 11 at the time, but remembers how strange it was that Prince Charles knew so little of bush life.
Things like building cubbies in haystacks, going tadpoling, how you milk a cow, all of those things.
But to the young girls, that was just life.
He would ask me things like, how do you tadpole? And to me as a farm girl, it was like, whoa.
I remember we were dressed in our Sunday best outfits for a photo to keep with Prince Charles, and he sent us home and made us get into our farm clothes because that's how he remembered us.
The fascination of having the prince to stay was heightened by the presence of his bodyguards.
I had the flexibility to be able to jump on a horse and go riding if I wanted to. He was always surrounded by bodyguards.
An uncanny coincidence, Jane celebrated her own son's marriage this year, but it didn't quite attract the same audience that's expected this Friday. Jane now wonders if Prince Charles remembers all the good times he spent on the farm.
Hey Charles, do you remember Dad and all the good times you had with my dad? Because they really were close, and he spent a lot of time learning how to milk cows with my father.
Heidi Pozzan, 7 News.